Hi everyone, in this video we will be looking at how you can write a great technical blog. Writing a technical blog can be a little overwhelming at first. You may not know where to start or how to go about it, so let's talk about that in this video. I'm Harish and I've written over 50 published articles, primarily on my blog and many on Medium. So many of them have actually been featured in very popular publications as well. So let me share my experiences in this video on why you should be writing a technical blog and how to start, and of course how you can write effectively. So let's get started. Firstly, let's talk about why you should even write a technical blog. So let me share my 5 reasons. The first is about yourself. So when I first started writing, I didn't even think I was writing an article. In fact, I was actually penning down my thoughts on a subject that I have recently learned, and I was actually taking down detailed notes. Soon this process evolved and it became articles, technical articles where I began to share what I learned along the way. So let me tell you this from my experience. The best way to learn something is definitely by teaching it. And writing technical blogs allows you to do just that. As you pen down your words, your concepts and your ideas are molded even more firmly into you. The second reason is that you get to contribute back to the community. No matter where you're planning to publish your work, there's always an audience who is keen to learn more about your work and your knowledge through your article. So as you contribute to the community, you actually get to grow along with the community. So it's really a win-win situation. The third reason is that technical blogs allow you to fine-tune your communication skills. Today we all live through emails, chats, and through the internet. And communication, and especially written communication, has never been so important. As you write more, you begin to hone your writing abilities and, most importantly, the art of explaining things to others. I call it an art because when you are writing a blog or an article, you are essentially not restricting yourself to a specific person. You are writing for a wide range of people, and it's your responsibility to make your concepts and the content that you are delivering as simple, as concise as possible, so that your audience can appreciate what you share with ease. The fourth reason is that you get to think deeper. As you write, you understand your gaps and you even realize some bugs or errors on the topic. Many times I found myself feeling stuck because while writing, I realized that something just didn't work, or I even noticed a bug. So this kind of critical thinking, identifying of the errors and overcoming these challenges along the way are also an important part of the journey in writing technical articles. Last but not least, writing has brought me so many different opportunities. I've been invited to participate in many publications as a contributing author, where I get to share my knowledge with the community. And most recently, I was invited to be part of Medium's Programmer Author Experiment as well. So these are all opportunities that you get along the way. And over time, my written communication has also improved so much that it has been highlighted as a strength by my peers and even at work. So these are all the various advantages that you get just by writing. So now let's talk about how you can start writing. Before you start on a topic, we firstly need to find the idea. For me, I was always curious about learning more on technologies. So usually I pick a topic that I'm currently tinkering with, or I want to learn more about, and I take that as a starting point. So if you're not sure, think about your current project or even your past projects and see what you have worked with so far. Have you encountered something that is difficult and that you had to overcome during your project? And would that be worth sharing with others? The easiest way to start is to share how you overcame a challenging problem. So be it a bug in the code or even an architectural problem that you had to solve, it is very probable that someone else is also facing the same issue and would actually find that useful. The next step is to study and research on the idea. The aim here is to bring out useful resources that you are currently using or you have used in the past, and make sure this research is pertinent to the idea that you are sharing. The next step is to structure your article. This is really important and this forms the backbone of your article. So typical structure for a technical article would involve the following. You have the heading, you have a cover photo, an introduction, you have a body, and you have a conclusion. Now let's talk about the execution. This is the core of the article, and I'm going to try and share with you some of the tips that has worked for me so far. First, the title or the heading. This is often the first thing that people look at. So your heading must be able to capture the attention of your target audience. So I would say to keep it lightweight. So what I mean is to usually ensure that your idea of the article comes across as easily as possible through your heading. And I like to do this in a couple of ways. One, I actually like to involve numbers and quantifying where possible. For example, a title would look like a 4-step guide to Dockerizing your app, or you can say a 5 ways you can safeguard your application, or maybe a 10-minute guide to learning React. So in all of this, the idea and the goal of the article is extremely clear, and sometimes it even shows the additional utility. For example, the time taken. A 5-minute guide pinpoints the length of the article and tells the audience that they can pick up the concept or what you're sharing within that given time frame. The cover photo is part of the vibe of the article. It is equally important as the heading, as it plays a part in capturing your audience's attention. The more info that you can convey with the image, the better. Like people say, a picture speaks 1,000 words. So a good way to find cover photos is to go to unsplash.com, and they have great photos, high quality photos that are totally free to use. Next we come to the introduction. This is where we need an overview of the article. A good tip here is that you should be able to connect with your audience. For me, I talk about why I'm writing the article in the first place, and I genuinely try to share my experience. For example, if I'm writing a guide to Dockerizing my application, then I'm going to share my struggle in doing it previously, and I want to share why I'm writing the article, because I want to save time and effort for my readers. So in that way, I can immediately connect with my readers who have faced such issues or have been trying to find out the same solutions that I have done. Coming to the body, this is where the bulk of the discussion is going to be. I try to keep 3 to 5 subheadings to structure my article here. So I keep the sections concise and to the point, and wherever possible, you try to add some images to liven up the article. And if you're going to use some code blocks, make sure to use the code fences or GitHub's GIS to actually do this. From the research phase, you would have collected some great resources, and now is the time to link them up in your article. So using hyperlinks and block quotes, we can actually navigate our readers to the relevant pages if they would like to learn more. So this keeps you focused on the topic without deviating too much. At the same time, you can supplement your article with great resources for your readers. Finally, we come to the conclusion. So this is really a summary of article. So imagine you had to tell your friend what your article is about in just 3 sentences. So that is going to be similar to what you are going to share here. I also like to share next steps with my readers. For example, I like to share where they can go next to learn more on the subject, or where they can actually practice what they have just learned. So this can include links to other kinds of tutorials or other blogs. Finally, revising your article is such an integral part of the process. This is where you identify embarrassing typos and gaps in your articles, and you also get to embellish your articles with more links, images where applicable. And finally, now you're done with your article, and the question comes where you should publish your article. So really there are a couple of ways to go about this, but here are my favorites. If you're looking for a way where you can have extensive control on how your blog looks, what it shows, etc., you might want to have an independent blog. So one way is that you can write on well-known platforms, for example like WordPress. So WordPress itself comes in 2 flavors, which is wordpress.org, which is self-host, or wordpress.com, where you can start right away with a free blog. Another way is to use a static site generator like Jekyll or Gatsby. These require some coding knowledge, and you can use a platform like Netlify to freely host your site. The third and probably a recommended way for you to immediately reach a wide audience is to write on platforms like Medium. This is good because there are already millions of people on the platform and you can instantly reach your target audience. There are also other platforms like Hashnote and Dev.to which are also focused on writing technical articles only. So you can also consider them. So next, let me share with you some of the popular articles that I have written so that I can share with you the process and the structure of the article. So this is one of the recent articles that I had published. So it's on concurrent API calls and race conditions in Go, which is Golang, a programming language. So you can see, the title is really short and to the point, so the reader immediately understands that they will be learning about concurrency and race conditions in Golang. And of course, there's a subtitle where you can share more on what your article is about. So I have shared that it's this quick example of concurrent programming using something called Go routines. And that's already 3 points that the reader can learn. So concurrency, race conditions, using Go routines. And it would really reach out to my target audience if they are a Golang enthusiast or if they're learning more about concurrency. And the next step is to actually add a cover photo. Here I have added a racetrack as the picture, as the cover photo, and this is actually in tandem with the title that I have. And this is actually an analogy to how Go routines run concurrently, because like in a race, as all the runners are running concurrently, similarly I have concurrency in Golang where all Go routines or threads run concurrently. So that's an analogy, and I have used this cover picture. So then I have a quick introduction about what exactly is Golang for new readers to this kind of topics, and why you should be interested in this, because there's increasing popularity. And after giving some background information, I've also given a link to one of the other writers in the community about this topic if they want to learn more about the motivation, the advantages and drawbacks, because that's not the point of my article, but still my reader might be interested in such topics, so I've left a link here. And next I've gone right into the main chunk of the article, which is the body, and I start off with guiding them through setting up a base code. Again, I've used hyperlinks to link to relevant resources, and I've used code blocks to actually highlight the codes. And while Medium offers code blocks as well for longer lengths of codes, I've chosen to use GitHub Gist, which is very nicely formatted along with highlight colors. So let me zoom into this a little bit. So here you can see how GitHub Gist have been used, and once I have created a gist, all I need to do to import it here is to embed the gist. So that will automatically load it here. So this will be really easy for readers to read. And similarly, I have actually cut up the article into various sections so that they understand what exactly these individual subheadings and sub parts of this article is focusing on. I've given relevant screenshots to show that what they should be expecting and what I have actually received, so they can actually compare the results with mine. So along with the body, I've actually given relevant links wherever possible again, and I've also included block quotes whenever I'm highlighting certain important definitions and relevant resources. I've given some notes for clarity in case some of the readers are confused. And finally, I've given them the resource where they can get the full code. Again, I've given a GitHub Gist, but in case if your resource is really big or it requires a folder or multiple files, then you can host it somewhere and provide them the link. And finally, in the conclusion, I've given a quick summary. I've actually linked it back to the title on concurrency and how they can actually utilize this when dealing with large number of asynchronous operations. I have then encouraged them to actually go and take the next step to implement what they have learned by building a JSON API, and I've linked that to a relevant article contributed by a writer. Similarly, here we can see that in the article's title itself, it's really easy to understand. So for example, 5 simple but effective React practices. So the article actually is going to cover just 5, but it's going to be really simple for people to understand, yet it can have a great impact on the way they write React code. So that's how I've titled this. Again, a quick introduction. I've given a quick link if they want to learn more, and I get right into the content. I've added pictures wherever possible to quickly highlight what I'm talking about in that section. block quotes to actually define what people should actually know about these two technologies. And I've highlighted the various codes using GitHub just here, and ended up with a very quick conclusion here. And since this is just some tips, I've actually given them a quick encouragement, a quick call to action to go about actually implementing these kind of tips and see how they can keep their code base clean and lean. And this is the third article on an 8-minute guide to Git. So again, very similar format. I've actually given a quick recap on why they should be learning Git instead of the other version control systems due to the rising and steady popularity of Git, and giving them a very thorough walkthrough of installing, the configuration, initializing, everything. And since they are not very long lines of code, I've actually used the default code fences that Medium offers to actually highlight the code blocks. So there you go. We discussed why you should write a technical article, the benefits of writing, and how you should structure your article, and of course the various steps involved into writing a great technical article. So I hope you found this really useful, and I look forward to reading your blog or article really soon. Thank you.